Yo, what's up, guys? Teacher Paul here, and today we have a coffee request. If you want to request a video, click over here or buy me a coffee. Link is in the description, and thank you so much for your support. Guys, today's coffee request comes from Whiplash, and this is a very interesting video. Just by the title, I am very interested. This is how Norway produces super athletes. It's such a small country, but you guys have super athletes, and I think right now Holland is probably the biggest one. But anyways, and then you guys have Magnus Carlsen, who we could also call an athlete. Whiplash says this: to understand and start to learn more about Norwegian sport and how our small country creates so many good stars in sports, this is a more overall and quick insight video, but gives a nice view of our heroes in sport. Please enjoy. Okay, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe for the next videos, and join us on Discord. We're building a great community there. Let's go. How Norway produces super athletes.
What country has the best athletes in the world? The US, China, or maybe France? Those countries usually top the medal table at the Olympics. Well, at least at the Summer Olympics. At the Winter Olympics, it's the tiny country of Norway that dominates. But it's
Obviously.
not just snow and ice. They have 4 of the best footballers in the world. Haaland and Odegaard in the men's, Hegerberg and Hansen in the women's game.
Wow.
There's Kasper Ruud in tennis, Victor Hovland in golf, Magnus Carlsen in chess. There are Vikings winning over the hurdles. They are even beating the Kenyans in long-distance events.
Goodness.
Triathlon, weightlifting, cycling.
But okay, wait. The comment about the Kenyan, in Kenya you have very tough terrain with very extreme weather. That's the same thing that could be said about Norway. Tough terrain, extreme weather. So although it's on the polar opposite, it still is the same. It's the same feeling where you're in a tough terrain with an extreme weather. You create endurance. So it makes sense.
Winning over the hurdles. They are even beating the Kenyans in long-distance events. Triathlon, weightlifting, cycling. Heck, they
Wow.
are even winning in beach volleyball. Per capita, Norway is the most successful sporting nation in the world.
Is it?
Why is that? The more you delve into the Norwegian success formula, the more interesting it becomes. It's a story about money, mind-blowing science, and a unique culture. Welcome to Athletic Interest and how tiny Norway produces the best athletes in the world.
Wow. Guys, I just forgot to say one thing. The channel is called Athletic Interest. So if you want to go check it out, link is in the description. And yeah, Athletic Interest, that's the channel. And if you want to go watch it without my commentary, yeah, just go check it out. Okay.
The natural reflex is to point out that Norway is super rich and has a lot of resources to put into its sporting infrastructure. But that explains nothing on its own. Ireland has a similar population and GDP, but how many great Irish athletes can you name?
Ireland has
right
a
now?
similar GDP?
Besides, Norway has been wealthy for decades. But for most of the time, they only had world-class skiers, and maybe here and there a player who made it to the Premier League. Today they are everywhere. We are not saying that money isn't a factor.
He could have mentioned
Norway's
Solskjaer.
state fund holds over $1.7 trillion in assets. That's more than
Dang.
300,000 per Norwegian citizen. The
Whoa.
government uses a small portion of the fund's annual returns to support Norway's budget, funding public services like education, healthcare and infrastructure, while preserving the bulk of the wealth for future generations. This allows Norway to have better infrastructure, better coaches, better equipment. So, obviously, money is not the issue. But it's
Listen, I think Norway has a very good quality mentality, quality over quantity. And I think when you provide quality, you get quantity, because lots of people start succeeding more than the average, population. So when you focus on quality, you can get a higher percentage of success. And I think that's the thing. Because when I went to Oslo, I've told you guys many times, I saw that you guys prioritize quality. It's about being a quality product rather than just, oh, here's what we do. No, whatever you produce, it's high quality.
It's also not the sole reason for all the medals. In 2018, Norway made it to the top of the Olympics medal
Whoa.
table with only a tenth of the budget of the British. Maybe they're just spending it wiser. Norway doesn't even invest in sports like skeleton or bobsleigh, as Britain or Germany do, because they say
Bobsleigh.
those cost too much money. So if money is not the answer, what is it that makes Norway so successful?
Culture?
It's a paradox. Norway
Paradox.
is a very rich country, but they believe in the socialist way of doing things. Success should come from working hard and being together. Families don't need to chase athletic scholarships because college, like healthcare for youth, is free.
Oh,
Sports
wow.
is not seen as a way out of a tough neighborhood. 93% of children grow up playing organized sports. Organized usually means in a local sports club. There are more than 11,000 of
Nice.
those in Norway. This also means that there are a lot of coaches. Most parents work 8 hours a day and are happy to spend their free time with their kids, to volunteer as a coach. That's not possible if you're working 16-hour shifts. The philosophy is a little bit like planning a successful YouTube video. You need a high click rate and retention. So the idea is to get as many kids as possible into sports and keep them playing for as long as possible.
But then again, we're going back to that quality, not quantity thing. Let me just talk about that again. You guys have Haaland, and you guys have, you guys have people who are on top of their game. But it's not a lot, right? It's not a huge quantity. So if I put Brazil into the equation, and the fact that we have, or we used to have, a lot of super athletes in football, then you could say that, yes, when a population is focused in one thing and one thing only, you will get a lot of good quality. But then again, it's pure dedication. Nowadays, we don't produce as many good footballers as we used to, because things changed. And I don't know what, but yeah.
Head of elite sports in Norway puts it like this: big nations are all about selection, getting rid of people. Norway allows children who are late developers or whose parents could not support them time to find their potential. This means that despite its relatively small population, the talent pool is
5.5.
huge, because basically everyone is doing sports. It may sound like a small detail, but it's much more than that, because of the so-called relative age effect. There is a great video by Memeable Data that deep dives just into this. We'll link it in the description. For our story, we'll focus on what this means for sports. These are all players in the Spanish First Division, grouped by month of birth. As you can see, there are significantly more players born in the first half of the year. That's not a coincidence. In most sports, children are grouped based on their year of birth. So let's say you are born December 31st, 2008, and your best friend is born January the 1st, the same year. Your friend is almost 1 year older than you,
Indeed,
but you're
yeah.
still competing against each other. On average, children born earlier in the year are taller, stronger, and faster. Therefore, an older child will have a higher chance of being selected by the coach to play. Being
Oh,
selected to
wow.
play means the child gets more experience, becomes better, and ends up with higher chances of becoming a professional athlete later on. The older player is picked because he is better, and then ends up becoming better with time because he was picked, apparently validating the early decision of the coach. Small advantages at an early stage become bigger advantages later on. Countries like the US or China with a high population don't care. They can simply drag millions of kids through their sports system, and some of them will get through. But if you are a small country like Norway, you need to make sure that you do not waste a single talent simply because they were born late in the year.
Bro, I'm telling you, you guys think of everything. Norway seems to be the hub of answers. Who thinks about these things? Oh, you were born 1st of January, so you're actually 1 year older than the person who was born 31st of December. It's such a simple thing to understand, but it feels like it's something that nobody's pointing out. Now that we see it, it's so obvious. But how long did it take for other people like me? I never thought of that. I've never even, it's something, these things that you guys are very meticulous in understanding and using logic. You guys are so good at seeing the obvious. And sometimes we don't sit down and think of it. I mean, it is so obvious right now that I know of it, and it's so simple to understand, but nobody thinks of it. Nobody's looking at that. That's what I love about Norway. You guys look at the simple things in life, and you guys understand, point it out. I think you guys are kind of philosophers. Maybe it's because you read a lot. I don't know.
Norway's success in sports isn't just about talent, it's about smart systems and innovation. Speaking of
Smart.
innovation from Norway, this brings us to today's video partner, Opera. Opera One R2 is a browser that feels like it's made for creators like us.
Okay, we're
with
skipping
every
that.
day. Now let's dive back from one Norwegian innovation to another.
Yeah.
So how does
Sorry, I'm not being sponsored by them, so I'm gonna skip that segment.
Norway get almost all their kids to do sports? For comparison, in the US only a little more than half of the kids are doing sports.
Wow.
Norway's success is the result of a plan called Children's Rights in Sport, adopted by the National Olympic Committee in 2007. It is a document unlike any other in the world. On 8 pages, it describes the type of experience that every child in Norway
Opera is a Norwegian browser?
must be provided. The vision of idrettsglede, which literally means the joy of sport. The document
Yo, Opera should sponsor me. Man, if anybody knows any person who works in YouTube marketing or whatever, or if you work there, then hey, contact me. I feel like I could do so many good projects, bigger projects, if I had like a sponsor backing me up. Not only you know, not only reaction videos, but I feel like it could do something, and then that would ease off of you guys also for the bigger projects.
document is about safety, friendship, but also the freedom to choose. Children may decide for themselves how much they would like to train, and can even opt out of games if they just want to practice. Want to transfer clubs in mid-season? Go ahead, no penalty. Teams are not even allowed to keep score until kids are 11. That means no targets or league tables. Coaches are forbidden from telling young athletes how much they weigh to not induce eating disorders.
Wow.
Competition is promoted, but not at the expense of development and the joy of sport for all.
Every
Because
single
Norway
detail
believes
counts.
The motivation of children in sport is much more important than that of the parent or coach. Violate the rules, and the federation or club risks losing access to government grants. Children are
Wow.
also not pushed to specialize in a single sport too early. Erling Haaland grew up running, skiing, and playing handball. The idea is to leave the kids alone, because
I think Erling Haaland, you know, he was playing handball, and then he decided to kick the ball, and he's like, "Hey, I like this better. Yeah, I think I'm gonna use my foot this time."
they learn a lot from playing, from not being anxious, from not being counted, from not being judged, and they tend to stay on for longer. And also at a later age, the joy of sports is reinforced. There even is a strict no idiots rule, as
No
the skier
idiots
Ketil
rule.
Jansrud explained in 2018. We believe there is no good explanation for why you have to be a jerk to be a good athlete. We just won't have that kind of thing on our team.
Kjetil or Kjetil? Let me know, guys. But hey, it makes sense. If you are naturally athletic, or if you are athletic, you may be able to play any sport, because you have like like I'll use I Show Speed as an example. He is very athletic, and everything he tries to do, he manages to do it well. Maybe not football yet, but if he practices, it feels like he is, because he is very athletic, it's easier for him to pick up a new skill.
Okay, so everyone is doing sports and there are no idiots. But what
No
happens
idiots.
next? If an athlete is good, they are brought to Olympiappen, the Norwegian elite sports center. This is where
Olympiatoppen.
Norway's sports machine goes into overdrive. Located in Oslo, Olympiatoppen combines cutting-edge sports science with Norway's unique philosophy. Every Olympiatoppen athlete gets a personalized team. Coaches, physiotherapists, nutritionists, and
Wow.
mental performance experts. And if
Obvious.
there's one thing that sets Norwegian athletes
It's obvious that with all that support, you will get far
athletes apart, it's their obsession with data. They don't just train hard, they train smart, especially when it comes to endurance sports. A lot of this can be traced back to a runner named Marius Bakken.
Marius
Bakken was
Bakken.
fast and curious. Over his career, he conducted more than 5,000 lactate tests on himself to measure the intensity of his training. He even traveled to Kenya to test elite runners, searching for the perfect formula. What he discovered was groundbreaking. Most athletes were training too hard during their intervals. Bakken found a sweet spot just below the lactate threshold. Staying in this zone allowed him to train more without overtraining or risking injury. This principle became the foundation of what's now called the Norwegian training method.
The Norwegian training method. I need to know more about this. This is amazing because I always thought, if you overdo it, like if you overwork your muscle, it doesn't give you more benefits. Maybe it gives you less benefits than you see. You got to find the sweet spot. By the way, I am starting a weight loss program with a diet and exercise and a lot of things that I'm doing. So hopefully we will see a difference in 6 months. But I'm gonna see, you guys need to hold me accountable. In 6 months, if I don't lose any weight, you have to come and say, what's up? What you doing?
Bakken laid the groundwork, but it was the Ingebrigtsen brothers who took his ideas and ran with them, and turned theory into world-class results.
They ran with it.
Today, they monitor every step, every heartbeat, and every drop of sweat. And you can find a lot of those details online. Their training methods aren't hidden away. They are openly discussed, analyzed, and sometimes emulated by athletes around the world. That's also typical Norway, a culture of sharing knowledge. Instead of keeping secrets, they believe that collaboration makes everyone better. So, while other countries might focus on raw talent or massive budgets, Norway proves that curiosity, data, and teamwork can take a small nation to the top of the world. But let's get real. How much of these fancy-sounding strategies actually produce medals? And how much is just a story made up later to make the officials look good? The head of Elite Sports admits it himself. There's always something unpredictable about record-breaking talent. Some special, unrepeatable blend of inner drive and external influence that sets an athlete on the path to greatness. But he argues that Norway has created the right conditions for that thunderclap to strike. And maybe this isn't just about medals. Norway's methods are redefining how we think about talent, teamwork, and what it takes to excel in a competitive world.
That is an awesome video. Shout out to Athletic Interest. Very good video, very insightful. I think at the end of the day, you need to check the percentage, the success percentage. 100 people went into the Norwegian way of training, and how many were successful against 100 from other countries, because if they're doing something right, then it means that it works, right? Obviously. Okay, guys, thank you so much, Whiplash, for sharing this video. And guys, if you want to share more videos, more stories from Norway, and request a video just like Whiplash did, then go over to Buy Me a Coffee. The link is in the description. Click over here, or click over here for my sports reaction playlist. Take care now. Bye-bye.